One, two, three, four. Almost the weekend and you don't know what to do. Or you just need something fun to listen to.
Southside Pod!
Yes, we're on the air.
Pod!
And with gangs all here, all things on the South Side. Thanks for tuning in to the Southside Pod.
Southside Pod is celebrating Record Store Day on Saturday. The 20th of April should be an awful lot of fun. So we're bouncing around the South Side and looking at different record stores and perusing. I mentioned recently on the show that I just got a brand new record player. I never had one, or actually last time I had one I was a little kid, but I'm starting to build up my collection, and a couple of friends said let's go out and let's explore today. So we're going to do that for the show today, and our first stop is Beverly Records, and Joe's sitting here with me. How are you, Joe?
Good.
So first off, tell me a little bit about the store. You guys are located, where would you put yourselves at about 116th and Western?
We're at 11612 Southwestern Avenue.
11612 Southwestern Avenue, and the place
116th and Western.
And the place is huge. I mean, this is a lot bigger than I think it is when I look at it from the street level. It seems to go all the way back, and it is stacked with records. How do you keep track of all these?
There's somewhat of an order to it. You know, we have things that are on the floor. We have things that are behind the counter. We have a lot of things listed online also, too.
So what is the most popular thing or the type of music that people come in here the most for? Do you pick up like just a standard for record collectors? Are a lot of people coming in looking for stuff from the 70s? Are a lot of people coming in looking for the new stuff? What do people generally collect most when they come into Beverly Records?
They're mainly looking for some of the like punk records, like, you know, Green Day, The Clash, Blink-182, you know.
182?
Yeah.
Not 183. They didn't work out. Yeah, they broke up from what I understand. All right, so like here, let me tell you what I have in my record collection right now, and then I'm curious if you have a suggestion for me, okay? I have the Weezer Blue Album, and I've got Huey Lewis in the News 4. Okay. That's all I have so far. I just started. So like, what would you add? What's a quintessential record that you would tell me you got to have in your collection?
Well, if you want Huey Lewis.
You're walking on me. We're walking off camera. Yeah. Okay.
So if you want Huey Lewis, I would say this one.
That's the one I just said I have. All right. I got this one. He's looking for another one. All right. There we go. That's a different one. Well, this is the single off of 4, Hip to Be Square. So I got that already. This is Small World, which I've never had before. This is a new one that I don't know if I've even listened to this album before. Do you find people are generally, they walk in, they're looking for an artist, and they discover something they never knew existed or they forgot about?
Correct.
Yeah. And what is your style? What do you have in your collection?
I don't have a collection anymore.
This is your collection.
But you're right. This is my collection here in the store, you know. But a lot of people, everybody has a little specialty of everything. I'm more specialized in like the hair bands, 80s music, and a lot of people are looking for that. R&B from 70s and 80s. A lot of jazz collectors come in here, and they're always finding treasures out here.
You guys around all week long, 7 days a week?
7 days a week.
All right, Beverly Records. I appreciate it, Joe. Thanks for letting us come in your place. We're going to keep exploring around here, okay?
No problem. Take your time.
All right, and while I'm standing here, I got over my shoulder Jason Barry. I'm going to bring him in here in a minute. I know he brought one of his buddies here as well from another podcast because he keeps trying to get everybody connected around the South Side. If you remember Jason from when he's been on the show before, a Blue Island guy who works for the village of Lemont. So the guy is all over the South Side. He seems to know everybody. Step on in here a little bit closer because Joe moves. All right. I want you to stay stable for me so we can stay in the shot. All right. So you were like, we got to go celebrate Record Store Day. It's coming up on the 20th. I was like, I owe you because I completely screwed up. Last year we did the Battle of the South Side, and I promised I would travel around Blue Island, and I haven't done it yet.
That's okay. We'll rain check.
And Battle of the
You have
South
some
Side.
things go on in your life.
I know. And Battle of the South Side is coming up again. And so one of the ways that I'm trying to make it up to you is that we've got Brandon is his name.
Yep.
Brandon from Blue Island Radio Podcast is going to stop in here in a moment because he's going to be taking this journey with us. We're going to try out a couple of record stores on this episode. Now, remember, we have Saturday Record Store Day. So all over the South Side, great time to get out and add to your collection. Sunday, there is a really cool event going on out in Tinley, another Hailstorm Artisan Market that's going on. John Streets is doing that. And the reason that I mentioned that Artisan Market that you should get to on Sunday out at Hailstorm is that coming up on May 11th in Blue Island, Mayfest is returning. And this is one of the ways I'm trying to make it up to you and the Blue Islanders.
Just a lot of Blue Islanders.
Is that I'm going to be there at
All
it.
right.
Okay? So we're going to bring
Giving away
Southside
money
Pod.
again? Last year you gave away gift
Yeah, I'll give away
cards or
money.
something?
I'll give away money.
Okay,
We're gonna have another contest. We'll give away like $200 some. I'll probably buy some beers for people. I'm hoping I'm set up somewhere near Blue Island Beer Company, but I'll be somewhere there on Old Western Avenue. You were at that thing last year. It's a fun event.
It's an awesome event, man. You have food and drink, great vendors. Couldn't say enough good things about it.
Okay, so what are you looking for here? Why was this the first stop on our journey today?
I think it's just if people close their eyes and think of what a record store looks like, and you can't tell on camera what a record store might smell like. This
Smells old.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to put down the place. No. It just smells like my grandfather's basement where he used to keep his records.
Yeah, in a great way. You walk in, it's like walking into a deli, but it's records.
Yeah, and it's not as loud.
Yeah.
You ever been in a New York deli? Loud.
What I love about this place is just there's a little bit of controlled chaos, like you said. I love digging for 45s. They're in boxes on the ground, and you just, record collecting, they talk about record digging. This is a digger place where you are just digging through stuff. You might know what you are looking for, but you're going to find something else. I came looking for 45s, and I'll probably walk away with some LPs. I already found two, and one made me say, oh.
All right, so take me through them, okay? This is kind of fun. This is going to be the fun of what we're doing today. You have, what do we got here? The Majors?
No.
No.
Yeah. Major Lance.
Oh, Major Lance.
Major Lance.
Who's this? I don't even know who this is.
Chicago recording artist.
Okay.
More popular in the 60s. He did a song called
Yeah, I totally know what it is based on that.
Yeah.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Oh, I know him. Okay.
If you were listening to the right radio station back in the day, you would have heard it.
I wasn't even a fetus yet, Jason.
No, I wasn't either.
Okay.
But I love Chicago artists of all genres, and I saw this, and I'm like, this might be interesting. This is his comeback, and he's looking glamorous in 80s. We went back to the listening station. It sounded like what I thought it might sound like. I'm like, I'll take that.
All right, so you're getting that one. $5. That's awesome. That's a great deal. All right, what else you got?
Can't go wrong with Ashford and Simpson.
All right.
We talked about doing something where, like, you buy an album. I only know one song on here. It's the first song on side one.
Which one?
It seems to hang on.
Okay.
Grooving Dumber. And so I'm hoping the rest of them are just as smooth. This is some good. I'm going to think this is some good, like, Sunday, working around the house, in the house, vacuuming, dusting. I think it's going to be that.
This is my thing that I've got to get over, and I think this place is perfect for it because they have a whole, more than half the store is like under $5. Okay, per record. And I was telling you, like, I want to buy some things, but I'm constantly looking at it going, are there enough songs on here I like? Because you don't skip around on a record. I'm going back to the way that I was back when I used to buy CDs as a teenager in the 90s. Like, I'm not buying this CD until I know that there's like 4 songs on it that I like. So I'm doing the same thing with records. I got to get over that, though, and just kind of pick a few and kind of listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, I used to pretty much exclusively buy 45, so it's kind of like that CD culture. I'm only listening to one song at a time, so I have that track on 45, and so now I'm thinking, want to stretch out a little bit. And the one that made me go, ooh, I also have this on 45. You did go, ooh. Was LL Cool J's Going Back to Cali.
That's awesome. That's a great find right there. Is that just one track?
This is a 12-inch, so there is a B-sides, Jack the Ripper on the flip.
Look at that. Look at that. That's exciting.
Yeah.
You're killing it. Introduce
your... before I do that.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be a bunch of filler on it. Just one. There's only...
Your buddy's over here giving you advice off microphone and camera, and I'm going to have him bring that over that he's got in his hands right here. Now this is who?
This is Brandon, Blue Island Radio Podcast.
How are you? You know, I first of all, are you offended by the fact that every time I see your buttons, your stickers, your stuff around Blue Island, that I think to myself, the Burp Podcast, which I think is cool. I know it's Blue Island Radio Podcast, but I always think to myself, the Burp Podcast.
That's what many people refer to it as, and that's fine with me. That's fine.
Turn around, say hi to everybody.
Oh, hello. Hey, everybody.
Show this record that you have. This is amazing. The casing in this record is amazing.
That I love to look for, and I don't know. Every year I actually do an episode about holiday music, Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever. And that's what this actually is. It's actually obviously shaped the Star of David, but it's called Gentle Joe and the Fish. Actually, I thought it said Gefilte Fish. But the first song is Hanukkah Rocks, and then Walk on the Kosher Side. I don't know about the condition, but I think I have to have this just for that. I got to have it.
And this is the record, like it spins as a star.
Yes. Yeah, so it spins a star. And I think you can clean this up, actually, and I definitely would play, and then you see the guys there in the band, would definitely play this on the show, actually.
That's awesome. What else did you find? You got one more here?
My favorite sections in the store, actually, is the oddities, because that's where I got this one from. You never know what you're going to get in that one. This one, I don't know, Santo and Johnny, it's an instrumental.
For everybody.
Two brothers from Brooklyn named Santo and Johnny. They do all instrumentals. They did a lot of covers of popular songs of the day.
How do you find that? And you know who these guys are. That's incredible.
Well, I have some of their records, and that's actually one of the good things about this place. If you're looking to fill a collection of, say, Santo and Johnny or Dwayne Eddy or
You're telling me there's more than one Santo and Johnny album that's out there, because there could be a collection of it?
There's a ton of them over there. But me and Jason actually talk about this once in a while, like have talked about, like, when you're DJing, you need to refresh, you throw on an instrumental every once in a while, and that's what these guys are good for. I mean, it's good music anyways. But
how often do you play Santo and Johnny and somebody goes, it's Santo and Johnny, and gets excited about it?
Never.
Exactly.
They might ask who it is, but... Like if you're having a dinner party and it's like you want some music in the background, it's nice, but it's not too light, it's not too hard.
You told me this guy was like an expert. And he was like, no, I'm not really an expert. I just kind of like to hang out in record stores. He's coming up with stuff I've never heard of.
Bangers.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Johnny's a personal banger. I don't know how many other people these days. There was a cover band.
We can tell it's a personal banger.
And then so far, also I've got Cameo, which is a little rough again, but. Again, you're talking about, like, I don't even know any of these songs, actually, but I have some of the other Cameo stuff, and I know I'm going to like it because it's funk. It's I don't know what to say. I can't talk too much about this one, but I don't know. Cameo's another one of those bands that, if you like early funk, you're not going to go wrong buying Cameo.
Meanwhile, I'm the lame-o. The first thing I picked out was a Johnny Cash album. I was just like, you guys, everybody knows who Johnny Cash is, though. I haven't heard of any of the people that he just brought forward. Like, he knows none of them.
That record already.
The only reason we're not buying that anymore is because we have those.
All right, very good. All right, so we're gonna try a couple places today, right?
Phonomart next, right?
All right, Phonomart next. We're gonna check out this place. I'm gonna see how many albums I can find that I actually know, and then we're gonna see how many Brandon's able to pick out that I've never heard of. That's awesome.
All right, sounds good.
This portion of Southside Pod brought to you by Tom Walsh, your Edward Jones financial advisor. He's local, experienced, down to earth, and a friend of this show. He actually helps me with my money, and he takes care of bills as well. Get to know you approach and a do the right thing attitude. That's what you're going to get from Tom. In times of financial uncertainty, how can you stay on track? You give him a call, 773-779-0023. Call somebody who is invested in your success and has been doing this for over 2 decades. Doesn't matter where you're at in life. Just starting out, getting to the end, somewhere in the middle. Stop in and see him on the corner of 111th and Kedzie. Tom Walsh, your Edward Jones financial advisor, and Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC. Next stop that we have here on our tour, we're in Beverly Phonomart. All right, I have Mallory and Chantella. All right, I got you both right. And first off, I'm digging this place. I really am. I love the vibe here. Look, I love the last place that we were standing in, but I looked at the poor guy and I said, I'm starting a record compilation. Like I'm trying to like fill it up now. My sister bought me a record player. I haven't had one since I was a little kid. And you remember like McDonald's had the special record that if you played it and it got through the Big Mac DLT, a quarter pounder with some cheese. Like that's the last time I think I had played a record until she bought me this thing. So he goes, well, what do you have so far? I said, I have the Weezer Blue Album and Huey Lewis and the News 4. He goes, I have just the album for you. And in the middle of a giant record store, he goes in and he pulls out Huey Lewis and the News 4. It's one of the only 2 albums I already had. So I don't think you guys can have as hard a time. All right. So first off, tell me a little bit about your place. It's relatively new here. I know you're right near 103rd and Wood. We're right here at the intersection. I used to live here 20 years ago. My first apartment when I got married was right here by 103rd and Wood. I haven't been in this neighborhood in a long time. So tell me a little bit about why you chose this place and a little bit about the store.
All right. So we've been here. It'll be 3 years this summer. Do you want me to hold this again? Okay. No. It's all good. I'm from the area. Chantal is from the far northwest side. When we purchased a home and moved back down here, we decided to open a record shop in our community. We both kind of toyed with different types of businesses that we would want to start. Timing wasn't right, couldn't quite nail it. And, once we were down here and kind of selfishly built the space for ourselves, it was kind of a no-brainer even that we wanted to be on the stretch and be a part of like a walkable community and create a space that we could share all of the things that we love. So not just records, but you'll also see the art, the snacks, the accessories, things like that we have in the space. And we really created it to be also a bit of like an extension of our home. We hope that people feel like they can, come in, be comfortable, relax, kind of do their thing and dig, but also stay for a little while. And so that's kind of how it came to be.
She dragged you south. My sister dragged her husband south from the north side. So how has the adjustment been for you down here in Beverly?
The adjustment is we have more parking down here in the south side. We don't have to put dibs up in the wintertime. And we have ample parking in the south side. So yeah, it's good.
Very cool. So if somebody comes in here, what your average person right now coming in here, style of music, is there something that stands out? Last place I was in, they were like, we get more people looking for punk than anything else. What's your number one thing that you seem to see people reaching for in this store?
I'd say we get a pretty equal spread, but hip hop is kind of our specialty. Hip hop, jazz, soul. But I think that we have a pretty strong hip hop collection, and Chantal has been a part of the local hip hop community for decades now. And I think that really shows pretty clearly through our collection and a lot of the, I'd say younger kind of college age, high school age kids that come in kind of lean in that direction too.
It's funny to me too, because I always thought to myself, okay, records are, they're definitely older music. Like my grandfather had Frank Sinatra, my dad had stuff from the 70s, and jazz makes an awful lot of sense on a record player. But I am surprised that there's so much modern music that people are consuming on records, especially because some people might sit there and say, well, when it's digital, the sound quality is better, and I think the older stuff sounds really cool with that sound that the record brings. So you're telling me a lot of new stuff is being listened to.
Yeah, all music that's coming out that's new to streaming, it's available on vinyl. And for sound quality, it's preference. Digital might sound cold for me, and vinyl might sound warm, and I prefer warm.
That's awesome. All right, so here I want to take you through what I found so far, because I was bouncing through and I'm just trying to find, like I said, I'm just trying to build my collection now. So I went back here and I went into the back, and you have a ton of new stuff. First of all, I will point that out. Like sometimes I walk into a record store and it's like, all right, we've got like this little bin of new things, and everything else is used or older, and you're like searching through aisles and aisles of things. You guys have a lot of new stuff, and then of course you have the $1 bin if you want to kind of go through it, or like underneath all the new stuff in the back you've got, like right now I think everything was under $5, and then it was 2 of them get one free. And so I went into the buy 2 get one free, because I'm trying to add a bunch at once. So I found a Chicago album. I see a ton of Chicago albums in every record store I walk into. Is this because most people are finding these things in somebody's basement and bringing them into you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you think of music that was wildly popular in a time where this was the leading physical format, it means that there are a ton of them in circulation and was a must-have for lots of folks. And so some people kind of knock what you might find in the bargain bin, but it just might mean that there's a lot of it out there because a lot of people loved it. And so this is, why you might see a lot of Chicago back there.
So here's the next one. I'm going to save this last one here, but here's the next one I found. So I have a Neil Diamond, all right? And it's got Cracklin' Rose. It's got Sweet Caroline. I don't think this is the original that these were on. No. This is more of a best of. And part of me feels cheap that I found the best of because I just was like, I know a bunch of songs on that one, and I don't want to keep every Neil Diamond album in my collection. Am I a bad record collector by grabbing a best of?
No, because sometimes an artist like Neil Diamond, the best of is the best album that he has.
It's totally true, right? Like every time I pick up one of his albums, I'm like, all right, I know one song on this, and the rest of these must not have been too good.
That's very true.
Yeah. He would have been handled much differently in the modern era with iTunes. And now this one here, I found this. I'm excited about it. I'm sitting here, I'm talking to my buddies here in the background, and I go, Railway Gamblers. How do I know the Railway Gamblers? They're local. They've been on Southside Pod before, and I was like, I'm picking up the album. I don't know anything about them except for what they performed acoustically on the show a couple of months back, but I'm going to try out the entire album. So that's a discovery one for me. How often do you get people that are like, I've never heard of this band, I just dig the artwork, I'm going to try it?
Quite a bit.
Really?
Yeah, quite a bit. I think people, I don't know, sometimes they're just instinctively drawn to it. To me, like that is the one of the best parts about shopping for anything in a physical format is the sense of discovery. I do not have that when I'm streaming. And that's kind of a part of the journey. You can surprise yourself sometimes and pick up something that you never would have thought of. And I think that you can also, I always say, if it's not just the artwork, but you're looking at, the list on the back and you can see maybe who performed on the album or produced it, you're able to like do the work that an algorithm would do for yourself and kind of learn how to, kind of create your own journey. And you can't really do that when you're streaming. So I think you did it right.
Okay, I think I did it right too. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, seriously, like I'm doing this right now and I'm thinking people are watching and going, he's the worst. He should just turn in his record player.
Well, I don't think that's fair because everybody likes something different and they collect vinyl for different reasons. And so I think if you're someone who really wants to get like OG pressings of everything, then that's your jam and that's a part of why you're doing it. If you're someone who maybe that's less important, but you're discovering new music, that's great. Or if you just want to get things that you listen to, that's great. If you are going to go home and jam to that Neil Diamond, but you're going to go home and enjoy it, then that's great. And we carry no judgment around like what people buy or why, as long as they're getting something that they're going to enjoy.
If you're just going to buy it for the artwork, buy it for the artwork.
There you go. Well, what I'm really going to do is go home and play it for my teenagers and drive them absolutely nuts. I'm going to stand off to the side here because I feel like you kept backing up. You were like, you know what? I don't want to be on camera. So I think I eventually just shielded you from the camera and nobody saw you. So I'm going to at least make sure they can see you for a little bit of this one. Thank you so much for having me in your store. I'm going to check out what these guys have been picking out before we get out of here. But thank you so much for having us here. Beverly Phonomart, I'm assuming open all the time.
We are open Wednesday through Sunday.
If you like hot sauce, and I like hot sauce, the only hot sauce that we have here at the 9 Foot Homemade Oak Bar is sidsauce.net. Go to sidsauce.net and get yourself some hot sauce. They're right here on the south side. They grow the peppers in backyards around the south side. They develop the sauces right here on the south side. Many of you get the sauce delivered to your door for free. And again, it's the only hot sauce we have here at the 9 Foot Homemade Oak Bar where Southside Pod is filmed and recorded. Check them out again at sidsauce.net. Jason,
yes.
Brandon,
yeah.
You were shopping in the background there.
Yeah,
let's talk a little bit about what you got.
All
right. So what do we find at this spot? First of all, is that a record? What is that?
I couldn't resist. It's a completely unnecessary purchase. De La Soul, 3 Feet High and Rising.
That's amazing.
Was hidden from sale due to sample clearance for a long, long time. It was hard to get. There were sort of semi-legal reissues and whatnot. Finally got official reissue, and I had seen that it was reissued on all 45s or 7 inches, and I'm covering the price tag. Sorry, honey. I have to get it.
He's so excited about it. I'm like, this thing probably cost him a fortune.
No, it's unnecessary. I heard there's slip mats for your 45s in here, and so that pushed me over the edge. So yeah, I'm getting it. Come on in.
Just walk through us, folks.
Yeah.
All right. So what else did you get?
I hit the buy two get one $5 section as well. So a little mix of stuff. Some Stanley Clark, some little radio jazz, some rock and roll, Cold Blood. There is a killer version of I'm a Good Woman on here. I've been hunting that on 7-inch for a while, and this was a lot cheaper.
You found it on that.
Yeah, and then kind of with the same thing, going with the 60s Chicago soul legend, trying to reinvent his career in the 70s, Walter Jackson. Feeling good. I don't know this record, but I know Walter Jackson and love the man, so
that's awesome.
My selection.
And you are DJing. Is Brandon DJing with you as well? All right, so where are you guys DJing this weekend?
All right, so in celebration of Record Store Day, go out and shop. This place is open at 9 a.m., so show up, get all the limited edition stuff, then come down to the Rock Island Public House. We'll be there from 3 to close with people playing on the hour, playing all vinyl.
In Blue Island. That's awesome. What you got, my friend? You got another. You're the best because you bring like different shapes and sizes everywhere we go. We don't have a misshapen one that's in the shape of a star like last spot. Okay, but we have Devo, which I think is amazing. Let's start with that one.
Classic, and I'm amazed I don't already have it, but that's why I'm getting it today. But this one actually has a song on it. The first song is the Devo corporate anthem. Me and AP Lindsay, that's my wife, AP Lindsay, that's the song that she walked down the aisle to when we got married, was the Devo corporate anthem. So this particular album holds a little special.
I think it's amazing that she walked down the aisle to a Devo song. That's incredible.
I'm amazed. I probably could not be married to anybody else except for this one person.
Yes,
so,
I would say that's a pretty specific type of person.
Yeah, so I got lucky. So I do a podcast called Blue Island Radio Podcast, and we do a thing called Vinyl Fridays where guest DJs come in and play records with me. We go 4 and 4. So that's just great because this is a good way for me to learn new things because I get stuck in my own little what I like. And so this is an album this is Future Islands, and one of our guest DJs came on and played a song not from this album, another album, but I liked it, so that's why I'm getting the Future album. I didn't want to get the one that she played. I wanted to get something else.
There you go.
And this is another one she played on another episode, China Crisis. It's a nice silver 45 there.
Is that just one song? Is that why 45s are like one song, maybe two?
Well, this one you can see it has 3 songs on it actually. So it depends. There's usually one on each side, but it depends.
And this one, what does this have? A Viking on it of some sorts?
And this is another older one, Roxy Music, and this is Avalon. I think this is, yeah.
I have never heard of any of the bands except for Devo that you have brought to me this entire day. Like Devo was the only thing I had ever heard of. Okay, when did this band exist?
Well, I mean,
early '80s, based upon what I'm seeing on the cover.
Later albums, so it probably is. I think 80, 81, but I think they started around 73, 74, 75, around there. Brian Eno was originally in the band, and then he left, and they were still good, maybe a little less, slightly less good. But
okay, slightly. All right. Again,
my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Blue Island Radio Pod, I would check out. Okay, because if you like records, you want this guy talking about them because I don't know as much as you know about it. Does Jason come on that show?
He has been on the show several times, and
Jason comes on every podcast he can get on. He wants
He'll be back.
He wants to be a podcaster so bad. He's the guy who came up with this idea. He's like, why don't I get you two guys together from 2 different shows, and we'll go to record stores, and I'll spend a bunch of money, and then my wife will yell at me, but I'll say it was for the podcast.
Yes, so I mean that's what me and my wife we go record shopping a lot. We'll even travel. We call it vinyl tourism. If you're out of town, you should hit all the record stores you can and leave some money behind.
Southside Pod listeners, if you're looking for something to do and you like wine, Spoken Vine Wine Bar and Bottle Shop, Northeast Corner. of 95th and Kedzie, an incredible array of wines, an amazing menu as well. The wines from all over the world, and you can get them in any kind of portion that you'd like. You can try out new ones every time you go in there because they're constantly rotating in new items. A 21 and over establishment, really cool, like a hotel lounge inside of that establishment. And then if you find something you like, you go to the bottle shop, you pick out that wine, you take it home. I don't know how you can't enjoy yourself at Spoke and Vine, northeast corner of 95th and Kedzie. See more at spokeandvinewines.com. All right, final stop. I made it all the way out to Flossmoor because I was told to come see the conservatory, vintage and vinyl, and Tony is standing here with me, and I think he's kind of like, who is this guy? Why'd he bring his camera? He's got his microphone. But I want to check out the cool spots to go get some vinyl before Record Store Day coming up here on Saturday. Are you celebrating? Are you doing something on Saturday?
We are. We probably have around 100 titles, Record Store Day titles. We'll open at 9 and we'll close at 6. Most of the time, people start showing up around 7:30. This is only our third one, but we look forward to having a good turnout and having a good time as well.
So I've asked everybody kind of the same question here, so I'll get the first standard questions out of the way because I'm curious. It's been different with everybody. First off, what is the number one style here in Flossmoor at this location that you get people looking for the most? Because I've had punk, I've been told. Okay, I've had hip hop at another place. I mean, I'm getting all the different kinds. What are people searching for the most? What type of record do you see the most up there at the counter?
Soul records and soul and rock basically are the same amount, maybe slightly more on the soul, but we sell a lot of soul records because we have a $3 to $5 bin in the front, and there's tons of soul records in there, so people buy stacks and stacks of soul records out of here. But we sell a lot of rock records as well. Why'd you get into this? How long has this place been around? Well, we'll be on 5 years next month, or in 2 months. But I've been DJing since the mid-'80s, so I was always into records. And we also sell mid-century modern furniture, and this area has a bunch of mid-century modern homes. So this is the kind of furniture that should be in those homes.
So the furniture here, you're selling that too?
Yeah, we also sell the mid-century modern furniture as well.
Look at that record store, and you're selling furniture. You're doing everything here.
So your wife can be occupied on one side, and the guy can be occupied on the record side.
Is that what you normally see coming in here? Is the guys? Because I was traveling with some different guys throughout the day today. In fact, one of them just walked in here behind me. He's running late. But I've had some guys that have been traveling around with me, going to these different places, and they keep commenting like, "Well, I gotta spend this now. I gotta do this now." And one guy was covering up the price of what he had bought when he was on the show.
We get that a lot. Like, I'll take the receipt with me, or I gotta sneak these in the house. Yeah, we feel like everybody can come in here and find something.
I've been expanding my collection today, and it's a brand new one. I've just started. Okay, so for somebody that's just started, I was on radio for years. I'm a big music head. I also, though, am kind of a stuck-up music head. Like, I'm one of those guys that I keep looking at the album going, okay, how many of these songs do I know? I understand that I'm not going to skip around very often. It's a record, but like, how many do I know? What would you suggest for somebody like me who's just getting into this?
I would start with the classics. So you could do a Marvin Gaye record or a Rolling Stones record or a Miles Davis record. Just depends on what genre you want to dig into. But I would start with the classics, and then as you get through the classics, start becoming a bit more obscure.
Is this one of those things where, I don't want you to give away trade secrets, but is this one of those things where, like, you try to get the customer kind of hooked into the whole thing, and the next thing you know, you got yourself somebody who's in here constantly?
Not necessarily. We want them to feel comfortable, and we'll give them, if they ask questions, because some people come in here and know what they're looking for. So I don't try to coach those guys, but if they ask questions, we'll point them in the right direction.
Tony, give everybody where you're located at, just so that they know to come check this place out. It's really neat. I'm going to be perusing the records, and I'm glad I got down here right before you guys finished for the day. But tell everybody when you're open, where you're at.
Okay, this is Conservatory Vintage and Vinyl. We're located in Flossmoor, Illinois. That's about 30 minutes outside of Chicago. The address is 1042 Sterling Avenue, and we're directly across the street from the Flossmoor train station, which is the Metro.
And also the Flossmoor Station Brewery, which is one of my favorite spots to visit.
Yes, right across the street from the brewery as well, if you're looking for a landmark.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me in here, and enjoy the day coming up on Saturday.
Should be a good one.
It's the South Side! It's the South Side! It's the South Side Pod! Thanks for listening! Thanks for tuning in to the South Side Pod! Y'all come back now, you hear?